This episode is brought to you by VH1's RuPaul's Drag Race Vegas Review. RuPaul is opening a live Las Vegas residency. Go behind the queens as 6 of the most sensational Drag Race superstars put on the show of a lifetime. It's Viva Yas Vegas on RuPaul's Drag Race Vegas Review. New series premieres tonight, August 21st, 8/7 Central, only on VH1. Watch tonight. Welcome to Bachelor Party. For the third week in a row, we're here to discuss Selling Sunset. And to do so, I have the creator of the show, Adam Divello. Adam, welcome.
Thank you very much for having me. It's very cool.
We previously spoke like a few years ago about Music City on CMT. So this is not your first time on this podcast, which means I will not ask you 1,000 questions about the Hills, maybe just a few at the end. But really, we love Selling Sunset so much. So I'm really excited to dive into it. It seems like just with all 3 seasons out now, people are just absolutely like devouring this show. And it seems like it's like absolutely just the most like in my world, it's the most popular thing. Everyone wants to talk about it. What has the quarantine experience been like for you with 2 seasons coming out in the last 5 months?
It's been unusual. We've been, thankfully we've been busy. We delivered the show before the quarantine hit. We were lucky enough we finished shooting, and we were just in post. So we kind of scrambled to set up our editors remotely so they can edit from home. And they delivered the last few episodes from their home. So, in that sense, we were very lucky. And then, obviously, I'm glad that people are responding and people have something to watch. It's nice because people were telling me that they kept running out of stuff on Netflix and they needed new shows. So it was nice that the first one rolled out and then they rolled out the second one so quickly thereafter. So it was thanks to Netflix for that.
Were you always, as an ass, was it plan always to split the seasons like that, or did season 3 get moved up because season 2 was such a hit and because of quarantine?
I can't even speak to that really. It's Netflix. We just kind of deliver all the episodes and they do what they want. I wish I could speak more to it, but I can't. I
feel like the show really also is such a fun binge watch. Like Netflix is the perfect place for this show in particular.
That's great. It's nice to hear you say that. It's unusual. This was the first show I've ever done, where I'm used to the show coming out and then people have to wait a week to see what happens next. So this is the first one I ever did where I was like, I can't believe people are just going to watch them all in a row and one at a time. So it was really unusual that first season, but you quickly overcome that, and it's nice because you get immediate feedback to the entire season, like within a couple days.
For 2 and 3, did you end up doing anything different, either in production or in post, based on the fact that it was streaming and not a week by week?
No, other than there's no commercial breaks. Obviously, it's a big difference.
Sure.
So you're relying on those, and when it's on linear, you have those you could kind of tease somebody out to the commercial break to get them to come back. So, but when we attack this show and this series for Netflix, the idea was like, okay, how do we create the same storytelling without the act breaks? So just having an A, B, and C story in the beginning, middle, and end. And I think we did it well. Obviously, people are watching, so hopefully we did.
Love it. How did the Oppenheim Group come to your attention?
I saw them in a magazine. They ran an ad in the Hollywood Reporter, and I had seen the ad, and I remember I ripped it out and I threw it on my development executive, Skylar Wake. I said, "Get me a meeting with these people, please." And the next week we were sitting on those same sofas that you see the ladies sitting on every week, talking to Jason and Brett, but we were sitting in Jason and Brett's seats, so it was kind of interesting.
What did their initial reaction was like to doing a show? Like, had they wanted to be on TV, or was this something that was just totally a new idea to them?
No, they actually were really anti it. They had been on $1 Million Listing before in the past, and I think that they just knew a couple of those guys on that show because they kind of all live in Hollywood and all sell similar homes. But I think the thing that pushed them over the edge was I explained to them. I said, look, I want to make a different type of show. I'm a big fan of all those real estate shows. I've watched them for all these years, and and I love real estate myself. So it was enticing to me, the idea of making one and putting my own spin on it. And I think that's what sold Jason on the idea of, he said to me, he's like, what's going to make the show different than all the other shows that are out there? And I was like, well, I want to make it for Netflix. And it was my intention from day one to sell this thing to Netflix. And I'm so grateful that they ended up buying it, because it really was where I wanted to be. They didn't really have any docu-soaps on the air at the time. I think they had English speaking ones anyway, and certainly nothing in this space. And so it was, I'm very grateful that they took the chance on it. And and that I proved Jason, and Jason just says to me every day, he's like, I can't believe you did what you set out to do. It's amazing, because from day one, before we even signed any contracts, you were like, oh no, we're signing this to Netflix. So I'm very happy it landed there.
That's so fascinating. So why did you want to do this for Netflix?
Because I just think Netflix had just a higher standard, as far as the look and the feel and the storytelling and the delivery and the reach of people that they reach. And at the time, it was just the cool kids table. It's like where everybody wanted to be, and that's where I wanted to make the show. That's where I wanted it to land. And so I was again, just we were just floored when they decided to move forward with it, and it's been a great partnership ever since.
It's pretty, I think Netflix Unscripted is really good. In 2020 in particular, they've had such great programming. I devour all of it. Do you think about the international audience now? Because obviously that's one of the positives of Netflix, is they're in so many markets. Is that something that goes into the making of the show at all?
I just say we make the show for everybody. I don't think of a particular country when I'm making it. Certainly, it's almost impossible. You can't customize it, in any way, shape, or form to reach any of those audiences. I think that you have to make something that we think is enjoyable, and that we feel comfortable in and confident in, and then just hope the world responds. I think it's, whether it's nationally or internationally, it's the same thing.
Well, obviously you had a plan and you knocked it out. I'm extremely impressed.
Thank you.
What has surprised you about the reaction to the last 2 seasons?
What has surprised me? I think it's fun. It's every day is surprising. I mean, the reactions are the fact that Howard Stern was talking about us yesterday was kind of mind-boggling, and the fact that Chrissy Teigen was tweeting about it is kind of amazing. So I think the reactions that we're getting from celebrities and from also just all around the world, it is kind of mind-boggling, because we do make these shows and we sit in these little dark edit bays, and you kind of just look at it yourself and watch it yourself, and then it kind of bursts out into the universe. And so when the casts are getting screenshots from all these other countries, that were number 2 or number 3, and whichever country they're texting from, you're kind of like, oh my God, you forget for a minute how many people are watching the show. And I get so many messages on my Instagram and stuff from different viewers from all around the world, and it's incredible. So I think just that the viewers the reaction has been so much bigger this time around, I think has been very surprising, and obviously very welcome.
Sure, yeah. Chrissy Teigen said something that a couple people have said. I'm curious what you think about this. She was saying, she tweeted that she's very familiar with real estate, and by the way, she put her house on the market yesterday, so no surprise, she was also watching Selling Sunset.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I saw it in TMZ, page 6, one of those, that she listed her house in Beverly Hills. So maybe she should get.
I have to look it up. What's it look like? Is it nice? I haven't seen it.
It's quite nice. There's a lot of rooms that open onto the pool. As per usual, it's in Beverly Hills. It's not like typical Beverly Hills though. It's really cool actually. I like it a lot. Yeah, a lot of green in the pictures I saw. It's nice. But anyway, she tweeted
they are that would be something we'd be interested in having. I wish that they listed with the Oppenheim Group, so we could have filmed it.
Yeah, well, yeah. Is that something that you'll do going forward? Will you try to get celebrities to work the Oppenheim Group so it can be on the show?
Well, we try to go after just the best. I mean, we cover all the houses that Jason represents and the sale of those homes, but also some of the women on the show have clients that are looking, for homes that Jason doesn't have the listing. So we have gone into celebrities' homes. Unfortunately, we can't say a lot of time. Yeah, Tay Diggs, and we went into another huge celebrity's home that we couldn't say whose it was because they both signed NDAs. If you remember
Mm.
Jason and Chrishell in that one house. But that was someone who's very famous, and we couldn't say his name. So that was kind of a bummer. But yeah, we obviously we always approach the celebrity who owns the house and ask them if they could be on it. We also, a lot of the people that buy a lot of these homes are also celebrities that can't be on the
Mm.
show.
Oh,
So
interesting.
when you see like a realtor there that's making the transaction for somebody, like 9 out of 10 times it's somebody famous.
Interesting. Wow. That's an all new perspective for me. Interesting.
This is real. This is Hollywood, and these are all celebrities buying. These are very expensive homes. We're not. These aren't condos. The people are buying. These are $20-30 million homes. So
I know it's wild. You just said that these are all Jason's listings. Christine let it slip on a podcast that Brett left the Oppenheim Group. What's going on there?
I can't speak to that. I can't speak to it. I wish I could.
Okay.
That would be season 4 territory, and I can't go there.
Okay. All right. Well, I hope we get to see it. I'm very curious. I saw that they have some joint listings still, so I hope it's on good terms.
I think they're all one big happy family, and I think there's sometimes there's families fight sometimes, I think, and then they make
Sure.
up. So I have 4 brothers, so I know what it's like. So we'll see what happens with that.
Any twin brothers?
I do have twin brothers. Yeah.
You do? Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Wasn't expecting that.
Yeah. They don't look like Jason and Brett, but yes.
I think one universal reaction is people have very strong feelings about Davina and Christine, but really Davina. Were you surprised at all by who struck a chord with viewers?
No, I think everybody has their own. I think everyone brings their own personality to the table, and I think that, I think in Davina's case, look, there's only so much time, and we only have a 30-minute window to fill, basically a little over 30 minutes. So you can't get every single thing these people say and do on camera into the show. So you're kind of only seeing a slice of what each one of these people are like in real life. But I think that, again, I think each one of them brings something special to the table, and I think that it's great that people find find all of them interesting. I think they all have their fans, and they all have their
haters.
I don't want to. Yeah, I was gonna say, what's the opposite of fans? Haters, I guess. Yeah.
Davina has a lot of haters. Why haven't we seen Davina sell a house? That's one of my questions. It's actually my producer Craig's question.
Craig has a question, huh? Craig, because Davina's got a big $75 million listing. There aren't a lot of buyers in the $75 million world, so I think that she's fishing for much larger fish than most, and that's probably what I would say. I think that she has probably maybe fewer listings but larger listings, if you will.
Sure. Okay. Let's talk about Chrishell for a second. So you and Chrishell both spoke with the LA Times for a really great article about how the filming of her divorce kind of came together. And I just wanted to ask a little bit more about that. It was obviously like just incredibly compelling and sad television. Her and Mary's conversation in the 4 seasons together was like just so raw. And so what kind of planning goes into capturing like something as real as that?
I think it was. I think what's different with Chrishell, especially, is that she's already living a very public life. I think before we even started the series, and obviously she was married to a celebrity. Life, it's obviously magnified and blown out there for the whole world to hear about instantly. And so, we treated it with as much respect as we could, and we again, like I said before, I consider the whole cast one big family, and I would protect any family member and try to protect them as much as I can, and she was one of them. And so I approached her and I asked her if she would tell the story on camera and show people that she can come out of it and she can survive, and that you're going to fall down and but you have to get back up again. And I think it's a universal theme, and I'm so glad that she trusted us with it and let us tell it. And I think she did a really sweet job with it. And I think it was nice. A lot of viewers reacted to when she went home to see her sister, which was it's a very real moment. In that time we asked her, we're like, what do you want to do? What are you going to do? And she's like, I want to go home and see my family. So I was like, well, can we come? She's like, you want to come to St. Louis and sit in my sister's house with cameras? And I was like, yeah. I was like, I think the whole world would want to see you go home and see her sister and like be surrounded by her children and her husband and their life, and know that you have that support system. And that resonated with viewers. I'm glad that she let us in, and I'm glad her sister let us in.
Yeah.
And so it was nice to see.
Yeah. It also I think it like I think it sort of changed the season in a way because you had like a lot like sort of these a couple different arcs that were all that then all kind of like all came together at the wedding at the end. Like at any great docu soap or documentary or soap, I would say they all lead towards a wedding, which is always makes for really like a great like event and whatnot. And it added like a just sort of like texture to the season, I thought, in a way that worked really well. And Chrishell, I think, is also like just so fascinating. The second career as the realtor is like such a an LA phenomenon, I think. And
Yeah,
that's also like that's I think kind of not quite spoken, but like is part of the show that I particularly enjoy. And,
it's amazing actually. And honest to God, she just was texting me this morning that she was showing a house to clients of hers in my neighborhood, and she was asking about the neighborhood, and asking about the street and the school and everything. And so it was really, I was like, with everything she has going on, and even with this show's all the press she's doing for the show, she found time to. She's still showing homes, so it's incredible. They are all working so hard, and God bless them. They're making money.
yeah, seriously. I also like that she has talked about how like she embraced the show as a way of showing her second career, that she's like moved on. I feel like that's actually not something that people say a lot about unscripted shows. Is like I'm using this to show you who I am versus like
Hmm.
finding myself through doing this. And I actually
Yeah.
thought that was kind of cool. And also spoke to like just like a level of like maturity and also just sort of being around for a long time that a lot of people don't have on these kinds of shows, which I really enjoyed.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you. I know that wasn't a question, but I agree with you
Sorry.
100%. I think that shows that special side of Chrishell. I mean, she's a very real person, and she's had success in the soap world. And but look, we all know in this business, some days you work and some days you don't. So
Yeah.
it would make sense to you to get a real estate license. Why not? You
Yeah.
can make a lot. You can make a lot of money out here very quickly by selling homes. So I think she embraces that real estate thing. I think she loves it. I think she really enjoys what she does. So I'm thankful that she's still doing it.
When it's time to rest and recharge, your home can be the perfect relaxing sanctuary. Article makes it easy to create a calming and comforting space that allows you to be truly yourself. Keep your eyes peeled and your Instagram open for inspiration featuring Article's latest collections. Article's designers focus on beautifully crafted pieces, quality materials, and durable construction, all while fitting into a modern aesthetic of mid-century Scandinavian, industrial, and bohemian designs. And you save up to 30% over traditional retail prices. Article keeps their prices low by cutting out the middleman and selling directly to you. No showrooms, no salespeople, no retail markups. And fast, affordable shipping is available across the US and Canada. And shipping is free on orders over $999. All in stock items are delivered in 2 weeks or less, 30-day return policy with simple returns and exchanges. You might know this about me already, but I'm a huge fan of Article. I love the pieces I have. They are timeless. They will look good in so many different homes, and I really think you should check it out. Plus, the delivery is fantastic. Article is offering you, listener, $50 off your first purchase of $100 or more. Go to article.com/bachelor and the discount will be automatically applied at checkout. That's article.com/bachelor to get $50 off your first purchase of $100 or more. This episode is brought to you by VH1's new series, RuPaul's Drag Race Vegas Review. In this new reality series, RuPaul is opening a live Las Vegas residency and has invited 6 of the most legendary queens in Drag Race history to put on the most sensational show of all time. See what it's really like to go behind the scenes and follow their Vegas journey. As the pressure builds, relationships are pushed to the brink, and with Ru as their boss, the stakes have never been higher. From love affairs that will make you gag to all-out backstage catfights that will leave you shook. Witness Drag Race favorites Vanessa, Evie, Naomi, Cameron, Asia, and Derek as they try to work together. Will they be able to slay the odds? With these drag superstars, one thing is for sure. You can always bet on the queens to showcase their charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent. Don't miss RuPaul's Drag Race Vegas Review. New series premieres tonight, August 21st at 8/7 Central, only on VH1. Watch tonight. Are all these women officially licensed? There's some questions about that on the internet.
Yeah, as far as I know. I mean, I think you have to be to. Yeah, I mean, I would say yes. I haven't seen every single one of their licenses, but they've all told us they're all realtors. So yes, I would assume they are. I haven't heard that rumor yet.
It's not like when you go to the nail place and they have their license on the wall to make sure that it's clear. So it has to be visible all the time.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
We'll have them do that. We'll have them frame them and put them next to their desks next season. Okay, so everybody
Yeah.
can see them.
So everyone can believe exactly. Were there people in the Oppenheim group that you wanted to be on the show, but like they just couldn't find a way into their stories?
No, not really. I mean, there was some people that we wanted on the show originally that didn't want to be on the show, so they just opted out. That now they're saying that they will come back and do it now that they've seen what happens. That's kind of unfair that they didn't have to take that first step like everybody else did. But whether we include them or not, I have no idea. I mean, we don't know if we're moving forward or not with another season. I just hope we are. So, but no, there are other people that work there though. I get asked that a lot. Are there only those 6 or 7 female employees and that's it? But there are other employees there, the people that are going around putting the signs up in front of houses, and the drivers that are driving things around. That we don't show all of that, just because we try to keep it clean and neat.
Sure.
Let the audience focus on just the cast.
Sure. As a producer, when you find out that Heather is dating Tarek El Moussa, like, what's your reaction?
First reaction is, can he be on our show? That's always my first reaction to anybody dating anybody is, will they be on camera? Because kind of it's not fun. I mean, it's never as much fun when you can't see the person that the person's dating. Obviously, especially like Justin. We tried to get Justin on from day one, and he was unable to do the show. Yeah, that was my first question: is can he be on our show? So we're just again, let's hope. We'll hope we get a season 4, and then we'll deal with it when the time comes.
Because they got engaged, I believe. Another wedding.
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, that would be fantastic. Why couldn't he do it? Does he have an exclusive or like some kind of like other precluding factor?
Well, he has his own show on HGTV.
Yeah.
So I know that I don't know contractually what he's allowed to do and what he's not allowed to do. But again, we'll look into it if we move forward.
Nice. Yeah. I feel like, he's already a real estate guy. It's so funny. I mean, I guess people date people within their own profession all the time, so it's not that surprising, but it's just kind of
we've all met up and had dinner and stuff. He's a super, super nice guy, and they are genuinely like one of the sweetest couples I've ever met in my life. I mean, I've never seen 2 people more happy to be with each other than those 2, and it's truly genuine. It's really nice to see.
You said that you're also a real estate fan. Are there like homes that you're like waiting to have on the show, or like other, like, do you like drive around and be like, how do we find a way to get this listing on the show? Like, how does that change the way you see LA from your car?
That's a good point. I think that I've done this my whole time. I've always been a real estate junkie. I'm obsessed with it. Back when I used to live in New York and work in Manhattan, and I used to work in Times Square, I would always get the Hollywood Reporter, and every month or so they would do the real estate edition, the Hollywood real estate. And I just would look at all the homes all the time. And I remember my fellow employees would just be like, "Oh, why don't you just move to LA already? That's all you do is look at houses out there." And so when Laguna Beach came along, that was like the perfect time to jump coast and come out here. But yeah, I kind of just go through all those real estate magazines. I go through the MLS and Redfin and all those, and I'll constantly just cut and paste and send them to my producers and just say, like, look into this house, look into this house, look into this one. Because there are just so many mind-boggling homes out in LA.
So many.
It's unbelievable. If you just drive through Bel Air, and we have a section here called, obviously people are familiar with Bel Air, but sometimes if you just get lost up in those hills, you'll see homes that you just can't believe that one person lives there, or just a family lives there. They look like institutions or schools or something.
Katy Perry, she tried to buy a convent in Los Feliz. I think she did buy it, actually.
Yeah, I heard she did.
But I'm also always surprised that like they could actually be built. Like, and I think you see that on the show too. Like, you're like, how do you build a house into the hillside like that? Like, how is that structurally sound? How does this pool work? I always have just so many questions.
Yeah, I am too. I'm glad that we got to show that side of it. I think we did a scene with it was with Brett and Maya. I think when they went to that construction site and you saw that wall. And I love that we showed the before and after, because you're like, oh my God, in that little bit of time, they took out all that dirt, and Brett talks about how they're only allowed to bring out so much dirt per month or per week. And so it takes that much longer. It's kind of crazy. And that property that we showed is actually on the exact same street that Jason lives on.
Oh, that's funny.
All that construction is going on, like you could throw a stone and hit where that hole is. So it's right next to his house, which is unfortunate, I would think.
I really like their concierge wrinkle, and I feel like that's a great way to also expand the purview of the show because the concierge service. If I were moving and I had to do all these touch ups, and I was like, "Here's the budget, like you guys handle it," that would be amazing. When they like develop new aspects of their business, do they talk to you guys about it so you can figure out like if it can be a part of the show?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Jason, I mean, we text constantly. So me and him texting or him texting with one of the producers. But he's constantly throwing out new ideas to us, which are always welcomed. I mean, he's a very smart guy and he's got a lot of great ideas. Obviously, he's built a hugely successful real estate company. And so when he came up with this idea to this concierge service, we thought it was genius. And we love the fact that Amanza was a stager before she got her license. So she was working with Jason and the group staging homes. She, I think, designs her own furniture as well.
Yeah.
So it was such a great, when he came up with the idea, I was like, oh my God, this is perfect because now Amanza can do this. And then it was had to work together, which I thought was so much fun to watch. I mean, Heather picking out artwork is one of my favorite scenes.
I really like Heather. I think she's my favorite. I'm not even exactly sure why, but I just find her like pleasant. And I like that she plays both sides. Nothing better than someone who like will be wishy-washy on a fight on TV. I'm really appreciate it. We need people like her to keep moving things forward. It's great. What do you think is like an untapped part of the LA world that could make for really good TV? Not asking you to give away your ideas, but I think like this sort of the style of real estate is really great. And obviously you have such an interest in the city. I'm curious, like what else you think that could be good television?
People who have podcasts.
That's definitely a joke. There's no way you think that.
Look, you got the perfect set there. You got the drapes, and you've got the little table there with the bowl of candy on it. You got the perfect little. It's really. I'm really kind of intrigued because this is it's so voyeuristic, these Zoom calls that everybody's doing
So
now, and
voyeuristic.
it's
Yeah.
like it took me a good month or two to wrap my head around why we were all doing these and then why they weren't just conference calls like we used
Mm,
to do before the pandemic. Like,
yeah.
why all of a sudden do we have to see each other's faces when we never did before? Like, we used to just do random conference calls constantly, and I never saw who I was talking to. And then somebody came up with this Zoom thing, and all of a sudden you have to worry about what your bedroom looks like, or your office looks like.
I know.
I've had to throw this surfboard behind me. This is my Teen Choice Award from God
It
knows
looks
what.
great. Well, you also like you can't really have any secrets. Like whenever I talk to like my colleagues and the people on my team, I always know if they've like moved to a new location. And you're like, "Oh, so where are you today?" Like there's no like it's a total lack of privacy. And like you can't really
No,
you had to
you just
establish
need like a
early on.
screen.
Yeah. You had to establish early on that you were a no camera person to like to get people to just like not care where you were. But yeah, it is intensely voyeuristic. I will just say we do it for two reasons. One, easier to have podcasts and have a conversation if you can see the other person and like have some semblance of human interplay. And two, Zoom makes it really easy to record your audio on the other side. So that's why we do it.
So that's what your producer likes it. That's why we're doing this.
Yeah, it's a production reason. Exactly.
I
Exactly.
don't
But
mind. I will say I had a Zoom meeting once with somebody, and they were in their laundry room, and
oh,
they lived in New York City, and that's how like so you can imagine how small the laundry room was. And this was a woman who like runs a huge company, and she's like, I have 4 kids, and this is the only room I have that you can't see them. So it's been really interesting. And then other people will do it from like a boat, and I'm like, really, you have to be on a boat
yeah.
while you're doing a meeting? Like, really rub it in.
Do you watch any Housewives?
I haven't. Honestly, I used to watch them back in the day, but I haven't watched them this whole season. Like any of the cities. I don't know why. I think because the pandemic. Maybe I just don't ever go there. It just seems like all seems so pre-pandemic to me.
Yeah, I was just gonna say on the Real Housewives of New York this season, they've had to rely on some like home shoots. So like Ramona in her house, like using her one AirPod and talking, and it's kind of like it kind of sucks. It's also cool because you're like, oh, this is what Ramona's house looks like when she doesn't have someone set it up for her with the crew and everything. But it also I just like I miss high quality television. Um,
Mm. Are they shooting the? Are they on the Real Housewives? Are they shooting it during the pandemic? Is that why?
Some of them. So New Jersey was seen shooting on location on Lake George, and then the New York Housewives just did an in-person reunion in the Hamptons, I think, because Andy's been out there. So
Oh,
kind of.
interesting.
I actually wanted to mention to you one thing that I really have enjoyed during the pandemic is watching old reality TV. I find it like very comforting. So I watched like season 1 of The Real Housewives of New York. I watched All the Hills, and that led me to Pluto. Are you aware of Pluto, the app, the streaming app?
Oh, God. Why?
It's a Viacom app, so it's all Viacom programming, and they just have a Hills channel and like a Laguna Beach channel, and they just play them all day, every day. It's all it plays. Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, my actually my mom just got like I just put a new television set in my mom's house, and she she's connected through the Wi-Fi, so there's like all these apps on the smart TV, and one of them was I clicked on something, and all of a sudden I saw the Hills channel, and I was like, "What the hell? There's a whole channel for the Hills?"
Yeah.
So it must have been that Pluto that you're talking about, but I will
Yeah.
check it out.
They just play it all day, every day. It's pretty amazing. If you like drop in on like some of the more iconic moments, like you just turn it on and it's just like Lauren saying, "I want to forgive you and I want to forget you," and then you just go about your day. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, those scenes are amazing.
How many times per week do people want to talk to you about the Hills and Lauren Conrad?
Not today, not that much. I mean, it's been quite a while. If someone's still doing it, it's like, come on, dude. There's so many new shows to watch. But I think more and more now I get about Selling Sunset. I can't tell you. I can't go to my dry cleaners without them asking me what's going to happen next. Or I go to CBS and the people there all know that they ask me questions about it. And it's kind of crazy. It is very reminiscent of when The Hills was on, because I will get the most random people coming up to me, and it was one guy in a supermarket came up to me just because he said he recognized me from some interview I did, that was about the Hills, because he just was going on and on aisle whatever 9 about the Hills for 20 minutes, and there was a song playing on the radio in the supermarket that was on the show, and the kid had remembered what scene that song was from. So it was
so funny.
It was a very very surreal fan moment.
It really is in the zeitgeist. You can feel it, I think, with Netflix reality shows in particular. Like, I think it happened earlier this year with The Circle and with Love is Blind. And like right now, we're like really living in the Selling Sunset like moment. And it just feels like because of the platform and because it's just served to you and you turn on your TV, people just like they just watch it all in 1 to 2 sittings, and then it becomes like the only thing they want to talk about, and they just research all of it, and it just becomes it's just a huge thing, and it's pretty cool. I have to say, I watched the season 1 like immediately. I watched that over the first weekend as well. Fan of your work, but it does seem like there's just like this Selling Sunset wave right now, which I also think is like weirdly enhanced by no one being able to leave their house. So like the voyeurism into other people's houses is kind of exciting.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. See other people's homes. Yes, you're right.
And it's like a previous time from almost a year ago, that everyone was, feels so long ago because we've been trapped at home. So
it's awesome. I'm very grateful, thankful that people are watching it, responding to it, and I hope we get to make many, many, many more of them, and I'm sure the cast does as well. And we shall know soon, I'm guessing.
Adam, thank you so much for taking the time and allowing me this peek into your room with your Teen Choice surfboard. I really appreciate it, and looking forward to hopefully season 4 and whatever you do next.
All right, thank you so much. It was nice talking to you as well. Hopefully I'll speak to you again if there's next season.
Talk to you then. Thanks so much for listening.